variations here, kettlebell and barbell. And we're going to do it from the ground, so you can see from a bottoms up standpoint what this may look like. Those same concepts are always present. If I'm doing a kettlebell, I'm going to make sure I'm standing right over top of this kettlebell. The handle's kind of right in line with my arches of my feet. Find those points of contact, heaviest on the front here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that same hinge until I kind of run out of room. You notice I can't quite reach the kettlebell. So this is the end of my hinging motion. Now from there, all I do is just bend my knees and maintain that angle of my body. Now right here, I can create some tension into the floor, and what I feel is this stuff has some nice tightness and like stretching going through, and these quads are engaged. I'm thinking that the deadlift is not a pull. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push the floor away, and that will just stand me up tall. So, you said a nice hinge, feel that nice tension back here, and then just bend your knees until you can grab the implement. I'm gonna put some tension into the ground and just push through my whole foot. Hips will come forward, and then to go down, same thing. I'm gonna hinge with soft knees until I get that tension just below my knees. Once my knees are kind of out of the way, I can just bend my knees to keep going down. If I get my legs a little bit wider, into more like a sumo stance or a hybrid stance, nothing changes. The only difference is because my legs are wider, I won't be able to hinge quite as far back. That's it. That'll keep you a little bit more upright. It turns it a little bit more squatty, but the other things are still the same. So I'm going to hinge with soft knees, keep my whole foot contact heavy on the front. That's all the farther I can hinge, and I'm just going to bend my knees from there. So again, it makes it a little bit more upright, a little bit more squatty, but other than that, it's exactly the same motion. Hinge with soft knees. That's where I get some tension in the back of my legs. Drop straight down from there. Okay? Now, when we get to the barbell, the only change here is that now I have to worry about the bar. Before with the kettlebell, I can get my knees out of the way of the kettlebell. Now the bar is going to have to deal with my knees being in the way. What I'm looking for when I'm setting up for a deadlift is I don't want this bar right against my shins. Okay? Common issue with a lot of people is they put this bar right against my shins, and now I have nowhere to go. As I pull, my knees are going to be in the way, so one of two things has to happen. I either have to get my knees out of the way really quick, which will force me to do excessive force in a lot of places, or I have to go around my knees like that, and again, it's taking the bar too far away from right underneath me. It's going to make a lot of extra things have to turn on so I don't fall onto my face. Especially things like your low back and stuff that might not be prepared for that load, depending on how heavy it is. I want this bar to be directly underneath me the whole time and feel like if my arms are just fully relaxed, that bar stays balanced right over top the middle of my foot. I shouldn't feel like I have to fight to keep it there. If I just relax, kept my arms like tight, armpits tight, and kept my arms relaxed there, bar will just hang right over top of my feet. I should feel nice and balanced through my feet the entire time. So what we're gonna do, same thing, feet right underneath me, nice little hinge with soft knees, feel weight to the front of my feet, but I still have my heel on the ground and then I can't quite reach the bar there. Just gonna bend my knees till I go get it. Now make sure my upper back stays nice and tight by pulling my shoulders just away from my ears, not back together, just down towards the floor is the thought. I'm gonna create some tension into the floor, and I feel the same things that I did with the kettlebell. This stuff is nice and tight, and my quads are engaged because this is a leg press now. So from right here, arms are nice and long, shoulders away from my ears, press through the floor. My knees will get out of the way just in time so I can stand fully up. Same thing on the way down, hinge until you reach that point of tension in the back of the legs, nice control. Okay? Again, main points are always the same. Foot contacts, bias towards the front of your foot so you're staying over top your midfoot. Nice hinge with relaxed knees as I send my hips back. Keep this stuff quiet is how I like to think. I'm not doing anything with my chest in any certain way. I'm just letting this stuff relax and thinking just like, once my feet are set up, stick my butt out, just kind of fold over, and there just feel some nice tension back here. This stuff is still relaxed. As soon as I add weight into the equation, now it'll start to get automatically, as I put pressure into the bar, I'll feel that stuff tighten up. I feel my abs turn on, I feel my back turn on, I feel my front abs turn on, and that'll create some nice stability for me to just push into the ground. But I'm not actively trying to extend my back as hard as I can or anything like that. I should stay over top of the bar, focus on pushing through your legs. Your back is working during a deadlift. It's not a bad thing to feel it work, but you shouldn't be the main thing working. And it shouldn't feel like it's a painful type of discomfort. I don't want pain or discomfort with that. I'm okay with like a pump, like a bull back did something. Same idea here with a sumo or hybrid stance, a little bit wider stance of our feet. Sometimes we'll do this to, again, make it a little bit easier on the low back if we can't quite hinge well enough to kind of get down to that position. It lets us stay a little bit more upright. Now, feet are wider. The width of my feet will only go so wide so that I can still maintain those good foot contacts. If I go too wide, it's going to make it really hard to maintain all 3 points of contact. So you go wide enough, I can still stay on equally balanced with those 3 points. Now my arms will go inside of my knees instead of outside of them. Other than that, same thing. Soft knees, heavy in the front of the foot, hinge until I get that nice little bit of tension. Go grab the bar. Now create some tension into the bar, and I'm just going to leg press it up. As a general rule, your hips should be higher than your knees. Your shoulders should be higher than your hips. How far and how angled you are will fully be dependent on leg length versus torso length and mobility, as well as your setup with your feet. So, just like the squat, it's a little bit of variance person to person, but generally it should be in that order. Knees, then hips are higher than that, then shoulders are higher than that. Me being all legs, my hips are generally a little bit higher than other people's. If you're a shorter person, have a longer torso, you might be a little bit more squatty, which is totally fine. As long as you're maintaining that, getting nice tension through the backside and some quad activation out and push to the ground, you are nailing it.